Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer. Saturday's DRFBets race of the day, the Grade 1 $750,000 Jockey Club Gold Cup. Race number 10 at Belmont Park. We are going the classic distance of 1.25 miles. Before we get to the analysis, I want to remind everybody, DRF Clocker reports available for this entire Belmont Fall Championship meeting. Get ace expert analysis of the morning workouts from Mike Welsh and his team of clockers. Learn more at drf.com/clocker. Let's meet the field for the Jockey Club Gold Cup. And Mike, as it is every year, the 3-year-olds now have to step up and take on older horses. And I think a lot of folks at first glance are going to say, this 3-year-old division's been, not to be rude, a bit of a dumpster fire thus far, and they might give the older horses an edge.
Yeah, I think that's a fair way to look at the race. I also wonder, considering how things played out last weekend, if the connections of Tacitus and Code of Honor might be wondering if they shouldn't have maybe have run these two horses last weekend.
Of course, the Pennsylvania Derby pulled off a big upset from Math Wizard. Tacitus and Code of Honor have to face salty older horses like Vino Rosso and Preservationist. You can access free formulator past performances, by the way, for this race on the Race of the Day event page at drf.com. Download them, handicap along with us. I wanted to throw up the Timeform US Pace Projector. One of the great assets about the 4 Preservationist is his tactical speed. He can lead, he can rate. Timeform US believes he can make the lead, which would be great for Preservationist fans. But if he doesn't make the lead, he can sit.
Yeah, it's really no problem for him. There really is not much pace in this race. So I wouldn't be surprised if Junior Alvarado just came out of there running and tried to make the front. But, he's shown several times already he does not need the lead to be effective.
It wasn't a surprise that Tacitus finished second in the Travers. He's been making a living running second in major races all year long. The big surprise was that he was on the lead in this race and down towards the inside on a day where some handicappers believe the rail wasn't very good. We turn to the stretch of the Midsommar Derby. Here's Tacitus confronted on the outside by Mucho Gusto. Tacitus is the gray. Eventually he'll bounce off Mucho Gusto and finish gamely for second, but Code of Honor's coming on the outside. Code of Honor needed to prove he could do it at 1.25 miles, and he did.
Yeah, he did. He got a really good ride from Johnny V in this race, but he also really ran. You can see him finishing the race off at the end, like 1.25 miles is no problem. Tacitus, listen, they tried to shake things up. He'd been a very unlucky horse leading into the Travers. They put blinkers on him, and he just wound up more forward this time. I don't think that was a bad thing. He was down inside for a lot of way. You could see Jose Ortiz trying to keep him off the rail because it wasn't the place to be. All in all, I thought he ran fine, Dan. Am I getting a little tired of his act? Yeah, I'm getting a little tired of his act. But you know what? He continues to show up and run good races.
It is a fair point to get tired of his act, but I really think some handicappers that are looking at him from a positive are going to say, Belmont Stakes, way against the bias on the outside. Jim Dandy misses the break, ends up perhaps on a deeper inside rail. Last time out on the Travers, perhaps again on the deeper inside rail. It's kind of his time to show it, though. Here, Tacitus can live up to his potential. As of Code of Honor, listen, he has been a very underrated horse all season long for Shug McGahee. Got that great trip in the Kentucky Derby, finished third, came right back. I think he overcame a wide outside trip and a slow pace in the Dwyer, and we saw him finish in the Travers. If he could take another step forward against these older horses, he's very, very dangerous and very logical.
Yeah, it seems like the book on him right now, too, is because he did run, he was a good 2-year-old. He was good earlier this year. He ran fine in the Derby, even though, there was a way to look at it and feel like he got a good trip and had no excuse. He still ran well. And I think ever since they gave him a little time following that race, he's just come back and won the 2 best races of his life. He's heading into this race the right way.
Those two have to take on some salty older horses. Let's start with the 3. Vino Rosso. We'll go back to his race 2 back, the Gold Cup at Santa Anita at this 1.25 mile distance. And again, maybe not the greatest field in the world with Gift Box and Lone Sailor in here. Vino Rosso showing a new dimension, right up close to the pace, and we know he's going to see out this trip. It was a good performance for him. And last time out in the Whitney, Mike, it was a race with no pace. He was 3-4 wide and he kept plugging on. I like that Todd's taking the blinkers off this horse, and all he needs is really a fair pace up front.
Yeah, I guess the positive way to look at that race, we just looked at the Gold Cup, is that at least at that point, Gift Box seemed like, one of the better older horses in the country. I think we, sort of all have an idea of what Gift Box is. He's not that good, but it doesn't really take away from what, Rosso did to win that race. He ran well. He got a figure for it. I didn't love his Whitney. He was 3rd best in that race, I think, at best. I don't even know if he ran the 3rd best race, but he ran fine. mile and a quarter is no problem for this horse.
Mile and a quarter at Belmont is no problem for the four Preservationist, who of course won the Suburban over course and distance 3 starts back. And the Whitney perhaps a little bit too aggressive under Junior Alvarado, trying to make the lead, ended up getting pushed by McKenzie, who might just simply be a better horse. He rebounded in a big way in the Woodward last time out. And again, we mentioned this horse's versatility. He's buried down inside. White shadow roll, white hat. He is the number 5 in this race. He's crying out for a seam. He's going to get it right now. And I love the way he splits horses and guts this one out.
Yeah, it's very late in the game before he finally gets clear. I mean, he's really only getting clear right now as they're outside the 16th pole. He actually wins this race very easily, even though it's a short margin of victory. I gave him a big excuse for his Whitney, where he just got hung up wide on the first turn. I feel like Junior, he had no choice but to send him at that point. I think the pace wound up being too fast for him. Overall, he's putting together a really strong year this year as a 6-year-old. I think he's way the horse to beat in here.
The 5 is Olympic Village, and he's going to be a gigantic long shot, claimed out of his most recent start, going 7 furlongs at Saratoga. He won that race for trainer Michael Trombetta. He's going to shoot up the inside in the Red Silks to win. Going away with an 81 buyer. He's very, very lightly raced. He has upside. He has a win around 2 turns. I wonder if Javier is going to try to send this horse and make him control the pace, because other than that, I'm not sure really how he's going to win it if he's not going to steal it.
Yeah, they got to try and put him on the lead. I agree with you there. I can't see him beating this field. Not that he hasn't run well. He looks like a pretty talented horse to me. I'm surprised they let him go for 75 last time, but they did. He won that race pretty impressively. He's just in way too tough in a race like this.
Top pick time for the prestigious Grade 1 Jockey Club Gold Cup. I'm giving Tacitus one more chance. Maybe I'm just a glutton for punishment. I'm hoping he can save some ground. Maybe his last race showed he could stay a bit closer to the pace. I give him one more chance. As for Preservationist, you're taking a hot horse that had issues early in his career, and what a great job by Jimmy Jerkins and the connections, giving this horse all the time he needed, and it is now paying off in a major way.
Yeah, I totally agree with all that stuff. I'm not so sure that this isn't one of the better handicap horses in the country, Dan. I think he's way the horse to beat in here. I'm surprised he's not the morning line favorite. We'll see how they wind up betting it. But if he's not the favorite in this race, I'm betting it.
If he wins it, perhaps a rematch with McKenzie in the Breeders' Cup Classic. Mike's going Preservationist. I'm going Tacitus. I'm going 1-2-4. Grade 1 Jockey Club Gold Cup. The DRFBets race of the day for Saturday, September the 28th. Approximate post time 5:49 Eastern. Good luck.